So you love podcasts, and you want to listen to more amazing content, but you have no idea what to listen to. And your friends keep telling you about great episodes, yet you can never remember what they told you. Well, here's the answer. Good Pods. It's the social app dedicated to podcasts where your friends, podcast listeners, and favorite podcast hosts all come together to share on their feeds what they recommend and what they listen to. You can connect to others, bookmark episodes, start a conversation about the episode, connect to the hosts, and most importantly, listen to great podcasts right in the Good Pods app. Download Good Pods wherever you get your apps and start sharing with a community that loves to listen. Good Pods. It's where to connect and listen.
You know what always cheers me up? Rolled up aces over kings. Check raising stupid tourists and taking huge pots off of them. Playing all-night high-limit hold'em at the Taj. Stacks and towers of checks I can't even see over. And Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond.
Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. Today on Thrive Loud, we have an Emmy award-winning journalist, television correspondent, presenter, mentor, speaker, and reporter. Odds are you've seen her on ABC News, Good Morning America, World News Tonight, and Nightline. She is the author of Your Hidden Superpower, the kindness that makes you unbeatable at work and connects you with anyone, which is why I'm personally going to love this conversation today, because anyone who's got this connection thing down is always awesome. But listeners are going to love this. Adrienne Bankert. Adrienne, how are you today?
I am amazing and excited to talk to you because I love what you're standing for with connection. I think it's the key to everything. So let's do a little, like, I'm going to make you go back and forth. I've been watching a lot of The Last Dance on ESPN, so they keep doing that timeline thing where they take the current moment and go back and forth. So I'm going to do that with you because I know you could handle it. All right, let's do it. I like to cha-cha.
Okay, so here's question one here. When did you realize this was your superpower? Kindness.
It was when my mentor asked me to write this book, because I would never have written a book on kindness. I figured there are a lot of books on kindness, and if you wanted to know how to be kind, you could study it. You could learn from other people who are kind. But I wanted to write a book. It was on my dream list. And my mentor's name is Bill. And he said, you know, Adrienne, you need to write a book on kindness. And I'm thinking, no, you need to write a book on kindness because you're way kinder than I am. And he said, nope, it's you. Your perspective needs to be heard. So I started with nothing really, except for that he said I should. And as I just allowed myself to be open to the fact that I did practice this lifestyle. I mean, I've been intentionally kind at work for many years. It's something Bill has coached me in. It's something that I noticed that our industries need. And so I literally saw myself and said, oh, that is like my specialty. That is my strength, or that is my trademark, if you want to call it that. But it really was my identity. You know, it went beyond a reputation to, as you said, it was my superpower. I realized how many doors had opened up, and I landed my network TV job because of kindness.
I was going to ask this question because you hinted on it. Your industry in TV media, while it always seems very kind on the camera front side, has not had a good reputation. All the movies that have been associated over the last 4 or 5 years with Fox News or anything in that space, we're not going to go through it. But have you personally been hit with the lack of kindness in the space? Have you seen it around, like directed at you?
I think that everyone can say that they've been in an unkind moment at work. I don't care what industry you're in. I think that anything high pressure, including the industries that you've worked in, has its moments. And all of us have seen the best side of humanity and the worst side of humanity at work. And so what I have had to learn myself is that it's up to the ones who do desire connection. I mean, I tell people all the time, it's because I wanted it so bad. I so desire to connect with people. In interviews, I so desire to know how to unlock somebody who was guarded and make them feel safe. And kindness ended up being that superpower and that key to bringing a sense of peace, bringing a sense of calm, creating an atmosphere where people would know I'm free to be myself right here and don't have to wear some kind of mask or, send in my representative so that I can actually communicate here. And that's really what I hope to bring to people, is that no matter what industry you're in, no matter how ugly you've seen things get, you can be the game changer. You can be the difference maker.
Adrienne, I'm just laughing because everyone on Wall Street is nice. I don't know what you're talking about. I worked in that industry. Everyone.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding.
You can name some movies in your industry too.
This is true. Every one of them. But I think it's actually a really good point, because some people used to say to me all the time I was too nice for the business I was in. And I actually found that almost to be not offensive, but not lacking ignorance, because there's such a strength in being kind or nice or wanting to connect with others. So now I'm going to ask this question, because if you watch your sizzle reel or you interview anyone, it's always fun. Isn't it fun to have you on the other side? You're usually on this side asking the questions.
It is very interesting. I'll say it's very different.
You have a speed of connecting very quickly with people, which I'm going to guess, having learned a little bit about you, that comes from probably something that you grew up with. Share with the listeners maybe a little bit about the size of the family that you came from.
7 kids.
Holy cow!
Where
are you in the rung of the 7?
I'm the oldest.
Oh my goodness!
But it's interesting because in the industries that I worked in, especially in the beginning of my career, I was often the youngest person. So you go into broadcasting and you're, the green, inexperienced one, and your firstborn tendencies to kind of take charge don't work.
Yeah.
And I mean, go try to be like an alpha female or an alpha male at work when you're the lowest man on the totem pole, so to speak.
Right.
And so the kind thing to do, you can call it deference, but I just see it as being flexible with different personalities and giving honor where honor is due. There are people who have gone before you, and becoming a student. And I always say, if you're teachable, if you're coachable, then even your haters will give you lessons and they won't be able to stop you. So, I did learn a lot from just following my family's kind of personality differences. I studied birth order as a teenager. I was intrigued by how different we all are. But kindness was a lesson that I learned when I was older. And one of the stories I share in the book, just a brief story, is that I went to work. I was a young reporter anchor in Sacramento, and one of the engineers came in. He was usually really chipper with me, really happy, and he snapped at me. And in my automatic knee-jerk response, I wanted to snap back and say something like, well, who do you think you're talking to? And I just thought, be quiet, chill out. I don't know what arrested me, but I'm grateful it did. Because I found out that his mother had died the day before.
Right.
And that was at the very beginning. That was in the first 4 years of my career in television. And that's the day I'll never forget that I said, from now until the end of time, I will never judge somebody's response to me. And that kind of goes back to what you said about, how intense and how high pressure and how maybe antagonistic it sometimes is in the businesses we're in. But you don't know how people are processing their emotions. You don't know what they've got going on at home. You don't know if that anger is really a bodyguard for the fear that they feel because of something else going on. So I literally do not take anything personally. It's like water off a duck's back. But that's a kindness, to be conscious of the fact that we are multi-layered, multifaceted people. And we're not just fitting in like little Tetris pieces into our job description, is one of the kindest things you can do.
Definitely. I was,
that was
it was a little, I had the Tetris thing going in my head. Those things can keep me up at night forever. Even years later, I haven't played that game and I have dreams about those shapes. But that's actually kind of interesting, because you do have an ability to connect with people right away. Yeah. This is where I wanted to jump into. Whether you're interviewing, you do a lot of research. You did research on me. You did research on everybody. It is part of your interviewing skill, this ability to read them in the moment or read them as from what you have, like a pre-planned game plan. I'm imagining you mix the two together.
I don't have as much, game plan, that's an interesting term, because that would kind of assume that I, kind of like a football team in the huddle has this playbook and they use certain strategies on the field against certain defenders, right? I don't really have that much of a cookie cutter when it comes to interviewing. However, I believe that because I've initiated and honed kindness and I own it, It's literally my North Star. It's my home button. It's the square one of anything I do. So because of that, I believe that anybody who is kind, that's a trigger to heightened sensitivity. In the book, I talk about it being a sixth sense. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people wish they were more discerning, more intuitive at work, in their own life, like knowing in their gut that something's right or wrong. I believe that kindness is that trigger, because this is my thing, whether it's connecting with somebody really fast on an interview level or connecting with somebody really fast on the street. You have to have a trigger for those words that we use a lot of times in personal development, whether it's authenticity, whether it's, what's your why, all these things. People are like, okay, I'm going to just find my why. I'm just going to connect. I'm just going to be authentic. But it's like, how do I do that? And I wanted, to tell people that there was a trigger switch, a light switch where they could snap right into that authenticity, snap right into that connection. And it's kindness. When I lead with kindness, people feel that energy and they know I'm not playing around. I'm not here to just make them feel nice. I'm not here to placate them. And yes, I did my research, but then the cards go away, the notes go away. Like, I don't have any notes. I got my water glass in my hands to talk to you because I want to really listen to you. Right. And what I noticed when a lot of people did interviews is they keep those note cards and just refer to them. And it's like, that's not a conversation. Yeah. And so kindness leads to the connection, which leads to a conversation. And you get a mutual reciprocity there.
We're on the same page. This is ridiculous. It's like, I'm looking in a mirror, just somebody, I just got much better looking.
You're my brother from another mother.
There it is. I knew it. So here is a good question though, because there is that ability to sense. It sounds like you've had really good personal development and almost coaching like skills in your life. Is that true? Have you had real like coaching work?
Intense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the past 15 years, Bill has coached and mentored me on every level you can think of. And then I mentor others. And I believe that when you mentor others and coach them, you become better.
I also think as an interviewer, you become an incredible listener. And it's one of the skills that I love about podcasting is that I get to ask great questions. When I work with my clients, my consulting, my coaching ability goes through the roof because I'm much more in tune with who I'm trying to connect with. And this is what I was going to get at.
Okay.
You're not always going to run into somebody who has the superpower of kindness. In fact, there are some people, unfortunately, who are not so kind, and you've probably spoken to many of them. Mm-hmm. Do you feel your kindness rubs off on the people you try to connect with?
Absolutely.
Expand.
Because I believe that all of us inherently are kind. You look up the definition. I'm a definition freak. I love the dictionary. And I was looking up the definition of kind when I started writing the book. Like, how can I explain to people what kindness is? Because we assume we know what kind means. You used it interchangeably with nice, and I was going to let that go, but now I might have to go back to it.
No, go down and tell me that the kindness is not nice. Is that true?
No, it's not. They're two different things. And I think that a lot of people, if you're a nice guy, like, oh, he's nice. There's a difference.
Nice used to be a bad word. I remember that in my dating days. That was a very bad word. You don't want to be nice.
Well, that might still be debatable, but
understood.
Nice is a hi in the hallway. It's a hello. It's polite.
Okay.
Kind is an embrace. It's engagement. It's paying attention to somebody and what they're going through and being so. Again, it's that sixth sense knowing of where somebody is, because that's going to save you money at the end of the day. You're going to see somebody in the hallway or maybe on a Zoom call, and they're going to give off a vibe that something ain't right. Yeah. I love my English today. It's just perfect. But something's not right. And you're going to be heightened and aware enough to know, you know what, let me stop and pull them aside, or let me talk to them, let me give them a phone call. Let me go back to what you asked about in terms of, what did you say? What was the original question?
The original question was, do you feel that your kindness rubs off on someone who might not be so nice at that point, or have that kind? Yes.
Well, because again, kind, when you look it up in the dictionary, because you get me all excited and I'm going in 5 different directions, but kind is your DNA. You look up the word kind, and it does mean thoughtfulness and considerate, but it also means nature, natural propensity, and determination.
Oh, wow.
And so if I'm kind and I'm just doing a kind act, a random act of kindness, I'll get the benefits of that random act in that moment. I'll feel good about buying coffee or letting someone cut ahead of me in traffic or opening the door for an elderly person in that one little moment. But when I make kind my identity And I recognize that you also have the same DNA as me. That puts all of us on the same level playing field in a sense. It's very equitable. It's inclusive. No one is cut out of being kind. No one's disqualified from it. And we're all now speaking the same language. It cuts through a lot of the garbage that we use to differentiate ourselves and to divide. And yet at the same time, it's like your thumbprint and it's unique to you. Your style of kindness is different than my style. It's an indelible imprint on your life that you will bring to the table that will inspire other people to be their kind selves in their own ways.
I like it. And you know what I also like about this, by the way, and just because in my looking at some of the work that you've done, there is something really telling about even your sizzle reel, specifically as it relates to those that you interview. Everyone you've interviewed who's featured in there, they've met you before, or you may have interviewed them before, and they are happy to see you. It's unbelievable. You can go check it out. I went through how many hundreds, if not thousands of people you've interviewed? They all have a sense of really understanding your kindness and are excited to be there. And I think this is an important piece because when it comes to connecting to people, yeah, we want to connect with those that we not only like, but they have a sense of appreciation, as you do, for this kindness superpower of yours. And that's the thing that I've been watching. I see people smile when they say, I get to speak with Adrienne. So I got to smile ahead of time and I haven't met you, but because there's a general, that's your brand. And that's a pretty cool thing. Do you agree with this? Am I embarrassing you?
No, I'm not. No, I refuse to get embarrassed. I refuse to be nervous. That's something I used to always say. Being on TV, you have to get over being anything. The show must go on. But I think being memorable is something that everybody wants. You want to be remembered. And I was going to title the book Famously Kind because of so many of the engagements I had with people who were famous and how my intention was to make them feel seen and make them feel heard as individuals and not to just clump them together into one particular kind of person. But to me, it's more, most people go after a brand now. They go, what's my brand? It's been something that we've talked about probably for 10 years.
I have no idea what you're talking about. You got a kitchen behind. Anyway.
I know. It's my kitchen. You want some tea? But what I've found, and somebody mentioned this in a call I had earlier, I was like, I don't want it to sound like I'm not down with brand. In fact, I write about, companies need to make their brands about kindness. But I think that we've pursued brand because we haven't known how to pursue identity.
Oh, that's strong. I like that.
And I think that we've pursued our why because we haven't known who we are. Once you know your identity, it's a lot easier to do a brand because a brand has to have heartbeat, and you can only get heartbeat from an individual, from a soul. And you can't pursue, just putting yourself out there unless you know who that person is. You can't. For me, it all clicked when I said, okay, who do I want to help and who am I? And when I found out the who, my why became stronger. Mm-hmm. So
I like it.
So yeah, brand I'm cool with. For me, it's based in identity, and then you can launch the brand because it's a product.
But I also will say this: we do connect to, unfortunately, because we cannot get to know everyone as personally as we would like to. And specifically now at the time we're recording this during COVID-19, we really can't get to know people personally in the way we'd like to. So there is something about those who have a public presence that there is a brand about them. I mean, we could say names like Howard Stern. We know exactly what we're going to get with that. We could say Ellen. We could say Oprah. We could say politicians, although we won't. And I will go through all of this saying to you that there is a brand that's associated with. But to have the ability to be people, your kindness, and this is where I'm getting at, your kindness is visible to others watching from afar. And yes, that is strong. That shows how strong of a connector you are and why people want to connect with you. And I think it's brilliant what you're doing here is you're sharing a message for everyone to understand that everybody inherently has this.
Yes.
And if we tap into it and we use these skills of kindness and bring that out of us, what a wonderful place this will all be and how much better we'll all connect.
Well, and the truth is that more and more people are, there used to be just a few contenders in these different industries, right? There was like the big brands, the big companies. But now you have YouTube channels and you have podcast channels with all kinds of people. And it's like, how do we compete? And that's one of the things that I talked about in the book was, how do you eliminate competition? Not that there aren't, some people would say there are benefits to competition, but how do you eliminate trying to compare yourself all the time to another brand and still stand out?
Yeah.
And to me, it was in making kindness famous. You named Ellen. Ellen's brand is being kind. I mean, really.
And a little bit of funny.
And good dance moves.
She can move. She could. I think she's one of the funniest. I know her first as a comedian, and then an actress, and then whatever she is, bigger than life now. But that's because you've grown up with that, and that's how we associate. But I look, you've got what most people want, and now I'll ask this question.
Okay.
The writing process to someone who is a journalist by nature here, working in media. Was it challenging for you? Were you disciplined? Was it one of those things, I got an idea, or did it all come in one fell swoop in one shot? I'd be curious to know, putting together the book, what that process was like for you.
Well, it was my first book, and I was on the road more when I started writing this than I'd ever been in any time in my career. So parts of the book were written in Tokyo, parts of the book were written in Prague, parts of the book were written in New York and California. And what I did was I listed the chapters that I wanted to include, and then I would tackle each topic, each chapter.
Got it.
It really was written very fast. Honestly, the book from start to finish was written really fast. It was when you go in and you start to think, oh, should I change this? Or you have somebody else's voice involved. And it really is a team effort to put a book together, but you have to stay true to the voice that is right. Mm-hmm. And so it was a beast of a lesson. I have learned so much. I'm already a better writer because I've written my first book. You learn so much. I was just like, oh my gosh, I could write a whole book on how to record an audiobook. Oh my gosh. It is not easy.
No, it is not. And it is painful. Just to let you know, I did an audio record to get my content out of me to write the book. It then went through the whole editing process. Book came out, and then we recorded the audio version. That was actually like the ultimate circle. And it was really hard because in my head, I knew what the words were, but to actually get all the words down on paper, I would love to write that book or write that or read that audio book. I'm in.
I'm telling you, I think that everyone should write a book. You just have to not be so hard on yourself. I think that's a big part of it. And for me, creativity is birthed in those kind moments. When I decide to be kind, then I'm starting to use my conscience for another person's benefit.
Yeah.
And that hones innovation and creativity in me and listening to that little voice inside. And you're able to be more authentic, more genuine on paper or on an audiobook or wherever you're going.
Adrienne, I'm gonna peel back the curtain a little bit here and ask a couple of questions. I love asking guests on the program this question. Mm-hmm. If you're having an off day, things aren't kicking on all cylinders, what practice do you go after, or what individual do you seek out to get yourself back on the thriving track?
Well, it's interesting that you say that because we're in this time, we're still in safer at home in New York at the current moment. And there's not like an actual day where we know this, life is going to feel more, whatever new normal is, when is that? When does it feel new normal?
Hopefully soon. Hopefully.
Normal. Because normal felt kind of comfortable and now new normal foreign or like outer space, just, weird. For me, the first thing I do is breathe. I'm a big proponent of deep breathing. I posted a video on Instagram and LinkedIn and just talked about how, back in the day, like breathing saved my life and my career because I would get so stressed out and frustrated. Things weren't going the way that I wanted to. And my girlfriend's famous words to me were always, Adrienne, take a breath. My mentor would tell me, Adrienne, you just need to breathe. And I would almost dismiss those statements because I'm thinking, what do you mean just breathe? That's not going to change anything. And what breathing does for me is it just brings me back to the fact that I'm holding and controlling the power of life every time I take a breath. I'm commanding that power of life, choosing to live, choosing to not despise that breath will help me not despise this journey that I'm on to get from here to there. And that just really centers me. The other thing that I do is journal constantly. I journal almost every day.
Great.
I think that's a really healthy practice. And I'm grateful for my coach and my mentor. I talk in the book about a voice you will not deny. And for me, a lot of times, especially as people become more successful, they have more authority because of their talent or because of whatever, their ambition, that they can kind of call the shots. But when I decide to make someone in my life a voice I will not deny, whether it's a spouse or it's a child or it's a boss or it's a mentor or it's a parent, that's me saying, listen, I know I can't do this all by myself. Yeah. I know that I can't send you to voicemail because the more I send people to voicemail, the more I get in my own head, and I may lose touch with my voice inside of me, my own conscience. And so it's just a muscle memory that I've developed to know that this is a team effort. This is a tribe effort. I'm not living this life and going through these hardships by myself.
Adrienne, we're going to put it all in the show notes, have all the links for everybody. If you could, though, it always gets more engagement when they hear it from you. Share with the listeners where they can find you, social media. We'll put it all out there, and launch of the book so everyone knows where to get it.
Yes. Launch of the book is June 9th, 2020. Right. And you can order it. Yes, you can order it on anywhere you order your other books. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Audible, just all the things. And then you can go to yourhiddensuperpower.com for more information about the book. That'll also direct you to some places where you can order. And we are also on Instagram and Facebook as The Unbeatable Kind. So the handle is @TheUnbeatableKind. And we'd love for you to follow.
Permission to go down Fun Street here on Thrive Loud with Adrienne. I know this is going to be actually really interesting. I've got a couple in my head, but permission to go down the way to ask you some fun questions. Not that we haven't been having fun.
You know what? We've been having so much fun. It can only get funner. And fun is one of my words of 2020. So let's do it.
I like it. Okay. First of all, basic one, traditional one here on Thrive Loud. What's your all-time favorite movie?
Oh my gosh. My all-time favorite movie? Oh, that's hard.
Yes, it is. We only ask hard, fun questions here on Thrive Loud.
I just watched Morning Glory for the first time on Hulu.
That's a good movie.
I'd never watched it. I'm like, what was I doing? Missing out on this thing. Let's see. My favorite. I wish I watched more movies, to be honest with you. When I was a kid, we watched Princess Bride a lot, and I could pretty much watch Princess Bride any day of the week. It is one of my favorite movies.
So we could put that one up there. That's a good one.
We could put that one. Yeah.
So if you're working out or going for a walk or breathing or whatever it is that you need to get yourself on track, is there a jam that you like that gets yourself motivated? A certain song you like to play before you get into a certain routine?
You know, it's interesting. I like to sing. So I'll sing random songs. I don't have one particular favorite one. But here's what I've done. Every year I have like a word. Like I said, fun was my word for 2020. But also I give myself like a mantra in a song because it's easier to memorize a song lyric than it is like sometimes a mantra. And it's, oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. So I sing that from the musical Oklahoma because it reminds me that everything's going to work out.
I love it. And we got you to sing on Thrive Loud, which just made me so excited right here. Okay. 3 questions, and they're all quasi-related before we wrap things up here.
Okay.
1, what was your favorite interview that you got to do in the role at ABC? Individual that you got to interview.
I don't have a favorite because I have so many, but...
how about this? What was the one you were the most nervous about before you went to go meet with that person and speak with that person?
I don't get nervous. I already told you that. You can have butterflies, but...
The most butterflies, then.
You can have butterflies, but you channel them to fly in the same direction.
Okay.
I would say the cast of A Star is Born was pretty big. You know,
okay,
Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga. I read it. I talk about that in the book. It's actually a really good story in the book. Dwayne Johnson, anytime, anywhere. Like,
yeah, he loves you. He loves you.
I love Dwayne Johnson. I love what he stands for. I love that he stands for being a family man. Yeah. I love that he married his love in Hawaii right after we interviewed him for Hobbs and Shaw.
Right.
And I just love that he loves his daughters. He's just a good human. I mean, seriously. I also was really excited to interview Will Smith.
Yeah.
Will Smith is very intentional in his life. And Harrison Ford, most recently, was huge.
Awesome.
I just love him. And then, I'm like, and then.
I'm glad I narrowed it down to one.
I know. I apologize. I'll stop now. I mean, I've had so many wonderful ones.
Okay. So I've had this conversation with other podcasters, with other media people. A long time ago, I had this conversation with Mary Carrillo and asked her the question, what was the worst thing that ever happened during an interview that you ever had? Something, technical issue, embarrassing issue, something that just stuck out like, oh my God, I can't believe that didn't go the way I thought it did. Or does
I've never, ever had anything bad happen.
Only Adrienne Bankert could pull that off. That's why you're a superstar. You're like the perfect game in interviewing.
I'm telling you, I've never had anything. I told you, I don't get nervous and I don't get embarrassed. So, so I can't say, and I've never had something technically go so bad. I've had things happen where it was close to the wire, but the crew is like figuring it out. And I'm sitting there like, this will work. Like it is going to be okay. And then all of a sudden it's perfect. But, no, I can't answer that question with anything sizzling or salacious or crazy or scandalous or funny or embarrassing. Sorry.
I'm embarrassed already. I'm embarrassed for you that you're so perfect. Anyway, okay. So a last good message here to bring things home. And that is, with this message of kindness, what is one goal that you hope that this book delivers to its readers, to those that connect with it?
I really do think that the key to everything, authenticity, your why, connection, is all rooted in who you are. And I think for the current generation, for people younger than me, for people older than me, once you know who you are, you can step into your sweet spot where you're the ultimate talent, gift, strength you need to be to your community and your family, where you are fulfilled, where you're not leaving anything on the table. And I want people to live 100%, because if you, Lou Diamond, live at 100%, we'll never see another Lou Diamond forever, for eternity. We'll never see another you. And so I think for me, it's just allowing people to get a glimpse of who they really are so that they really can live the life that they want.
Adrienne, thank you so much for coming on the program today. You're an awesome rock star. I was a fan before. Now I'm like a huge fan. Now I don't know what to do. Now I'm going to have to watch. I'm going to have to only watch ABC now. This is going to be difficult on the viewing front. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on Thrive Loud. Best of luck with the book. Continue to luck with your career. You keep killing it. And now I know you're never nervous. You never mess up. There's no technical issues. It's all...
No, definitely mess up, but the show must go on. And that's what you learn from being a TV, that you don't have to be perfect, but you can have the perfect tailored to you life. And then you don't stress about the little things.
So, thank you so much for coming on Thrive Loud today.
Thanks, Lou.
And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.